So, guys, Star Trek The Next Generation, the family episodes, the episodes that deal with the all important and we can't get away from if we tried. We all can escape family. Like the great drama TV show Family or Family Ties, right? It's all about the family. And in Star Trek Next Generation, in good old TNG, my episode Homeward is cozily nestled and put in right with a lot of the family episodes in the seventh season. But, and I did a little research, have a little cheat sheet right here to talk about how the fourth season, in many ways, is just as much or more so a family-oriented next-gen season. Now, when I was writing mine, it was right before college. It was about 6 months before I attended my first year, freshman year in college. So I was busy. You know how it is with the entrance exams and the SATs, whatever, all the things you got to do to get to college and financial aid. And then I was like, well, I'm going to write a Star Trek script, which I did, submitted, and I sold it, got the contracts and all that stuff about 2 or 3 days before I got my acceptance letter to college. So it was a really whirlwind time. It was just like, talk about, you didn't know what to think about first. You didn't know what to consider and get, more celebratory and happy about. So, but the bottom line is that I didn't know at the time, this was in late 93, that Star Trek was going to go off the air. No one knew that. I guess it was announced maybe way end of 93 or maybe the beginning of the seventh season. I guess before, but I had no knowledge and no clue that it was ending. So when I wrote my script about Worf's foster brother, good old Nikolai Rozhenko, I didn't know if it would be, produced at all. Maybe it wouldn't be produced, but that it would be the seventh and final season. It could have been the eighth if there was an eighth. So, but bottom line is with the fourth season, everyone looks at Next Gen at the seventh season, my season as being more family. But if you go over all the fourth season family episodes, there is, of course, Family, and that's the one with Picard going back to his winery and all that bullshit with his brother. And then it's also a Worf episode as well with his adoptive parents coming on board. We meet them, and then there's that great holographic message from Wesley's father, Jack Crusher. So that's a real family episode. Then you have Brothers. That's a Data and Lore episode when they meet their father. What a strange little family reunion that is. You've got, now this isn't an actual family member, but there's the episode Suddenly Human with Picard trying to deal with that kid that was raised by Klingons and, should he send him back to the human race, and he's more like Klingon. Then you do have Reunion with Worf's son Alexander, and they explore that again. And then you have New Ground again, more with Alexander coming on board and him getting used to it. Now in the seventh season, you did have probably the most, including mine. There was Dark Page focusing on Deanna Troi and her mom, Luxana. There was Inheritance with Data. He meets a woman claiming to be his mom, and I don't want to spoil it, but you got to watch the episode. You had mine, Homeward, with Nikolai Rozhenko coming on board. You had Firstborn. This is, once again, another Worf and Alexander. Alexander and Worf mix it up, more on their relationship. And then you had Bloodlines, where Picard thinks he has a son, but it's not quite what it appears to be. It's a wacky one. And then finally, Interface with Geordi, Mr. LaForge, Chief Engineer Geordi LaForge, and he has a wacky sort of virtual reality experience with his mom. Or again, you gotta watch the episode. All right, so that's basically the family episodes of Next Generation. And again, a lot of fans think, it's the seventh season is all about family episodes. Not really. In fact, the fourth and other seasons have just as much or more, in a way. You could argue that, of course, the seventh season, it was tying everything up. It was the swan song of Next Gen because they would go into the movies. Who would ever thought they would go to film? I mean, I knew that it was a possibility, but at that time it was still, whoa, well, Shatner, Kirk, and the old crew were still hanging around. And obviously, as we know, generations melded them, melded the generations. So we were like, well, will they make a Next Gen film, or will it be the classic Kirk's crew again? Or we got a combo, right? We got a combo platter of Star Trek. So there you go. My episode is family, meaning that the seventh season, the last season of Next Gen, but it's not the only Star Trek Next Generation season, the future family. What do you think? Give us your feedback. Tell us what you think of the Next Generation family episodes. Hope you're enjoying. Hope you're subscribing. See you soon.